Showcase coming up in just a moment. We have a full 7 minutes before we go, and I believe we're going to go over to the RF team here in just a moment. But let me talk a little bit more about what's happening with regards to let's say the Cisco DNA spaces, since I started on that conversation a little bit earlier. Sometimes I think it was confusing when it came to CMX and it came to what are the different SKUs that we have to get into if we're a wireless customer. We want to start taking advantage of location in our space. Because I think the key takeaway when it came to gathering that level of data was understanding that it's Wi-Fi connectivity is table stakes. In other words, everybody is expected to be providing that for certainly for their employees, but for their customers, for the guests, and this type of thing. And that's great. If you've got that and you're doing it, fantastic. I certainly want to help you do it. And in fact, if you've done it with Cisco, be it Cisco that's got the Aeronet heritage or Cisco with the Meraki heritage, does not matter. Cisco DNA Spaces has the ability to actually start using location data from the very installation that you already have, begin adding value to be able to start doing innovative stuff in your space. So whether it's basic presence, like how many people are coming in at a certain time and just starting to understand how you're going to graph that, to going all the way up and going, you know what, just like they're doing over in the Cisco retail store, we can go, hey, I've got high value items over here, and then as Nish was showing us, they know which items are being carried into the fitting room, which means that now instead of waiting to a point of sale to kind of take a guess at what's popular, because maybe something is popular in your retail store in this example, but people are trying things on and you didn't have their size, but it never showed up at the point of sale, so you never knew, but that data could have been generated in your space if you have something simple as the wireless already ready to go. Start looking at Cisco DNA Spaces to add more value to that. And that's exactly what Sri has been sharing with us, is how do you add more value to the data that you already have? It's not hard to collect it, and now it's getting much, much easier with the tools and the resources and such that we continue to provide to be able to say, hey, let's start processing that data and then turning it around and use that to outdo our competition, to be able to move a little bit faster in our internal processes, which equates to bottom line results, just like the Port of Rotterdam, if you will, and what they're doing there. They're getting those ships closer and closer, if you will, because they're able to do the data and use their space more efficiently. We're having a lot of fun here. There's a ton of data here that we are sharing. In fact, one of the guys, when we were doing a behind the scenes at the NOC, I had a chance, and I don't know if they showed the video yet, I don't know if they finished it, but one of the things that always happens at every Cisco Live is that we get to take a look at the people that are putting together the very network that we all depend on. So every vendor that's in here, every Cisco employee, every guest, everything, including Cisco TV, we need to have the network ready to go. I have a video for you that shows exactly how much data they've been pushing and the innovative ways they've been doing it and the volunteers involved. We're going to show that a little bit later, but right now, let's go on out to my good friend Agam and take it away.
Thank you, Rob. I'm here at the Innovation Showcase, and we are really excited and looking forward to the speech of Todd Nightingale about Meraki. But meanwhile, I've got Simon Thompson, the Meraki evangelist, with me. Hi, Simon. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you today?
I'm good too, thank you. So Simon, we've got a few questions for you, mostly focused on the customer experience. So could you tell us more about the importance of customer experience at Meraki?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have a mission statement at Meraki which is really all about simplifying powerful technology to allow passionate people to focus on their mission. And really, for us, that encompasses the spirit of customer experience, which is about so much more than just the technology itself, but also about all of the touch points, all of the ways that people interact with Meraki technology.
Thank you. And could you tell us more about the latest innovations? And I'm sure we're going to hear more from Todd later, but in general, how could our customers augment their customer experience journey with Meraki?
Yeah, so we're thinking about this on many different levels. First of all, we've got to think about the customers, think about the IT administrators, and also think about the employees. And at every level, we're doing something that's going to make their lives a little bit easier. The technology itself is very straightforward to manage. Everybody who knows Meraki will know that very well already. So all the way from trying out Meraki, actually getting it installed very, very fast with the zero-touch provisioning. Once it's installed, we're thinking about how IT administrators get an easier life. So for example, somebody raises a trouble ticket that says, hey, the network's slow. Never happens, right? That happens all the time. So what we do is make it easier for the IT administrator to zoom in on the true source of the problem. And as customers move their apps more to the cloud, that becomes more and more important. So we're also thinking about how we can help our customers to deliver transform digital solutions for their customers. And we do that using the APIs that we have at Meraki, various different types that we have available for multiple products, for provisioning, for analytics, location, and so on. And Todd's going to be covering all of this in a little bit more detail during his talk.
Sounds great. Well, I work in cybersecurity at Cisco, and from cybersecurity standpoint, I think we've gone very far with Meraki MX platform. For example, we've brought all the, well, I'll call them the fancy features, but like, very advanced security features like advanced malware protection. We've got Snort IPS on Meraki MX and so on. So what's next there? Are we continuing this partnership with the cybersecurity team?
Absolutely, and one of the things that I really like about our integration into the Cisco family is the way that we're bringing in the very best of Cisco's security technologies. So the fact that we work with the Talos group, the fact that we have the firepower technology built in, advanced malware protection, and so on. This means we're getting the best of Cisco's already world-class security technology built right into the MX platform that is, of course, also able to provide SD-WAN functionality for customers as well. So we're thinking about this on multiple levels. At every stage, simplicity and experience is really at the heart of it.
Sounds great. So you'd say, essentially, it's an end-to-end infrastructure with security embedded, and SD-WAN is definitely one of the hottest topics. Well, thank you, Simon. Thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it. And now back to the studio.
Excellent.
Take it away, Rob.
Hey, thank you so much. So yeah, I know Simon. I worked with him for a while. Funny story. There was a time we did a show, it was a long time ago, much closer to the Meraki acquisition, where I had a chance to go do some taping inside Meraki's main offices in San Francisco. A really, really cool office that they've got just a bunch of smart people all doing their thing. And I don't think I'm allowed back there again. Main reason, they serve free food, both for breakfast and lunch, and people bring their dogs in, and I didn't want to leave. Needless to say, it's a wonderful place, and they've showed me pictures since I left, but I have not been able to see it myself since we got there. Meraki is something you need to pay attention to, and that's why I'm so excited about this next showcase. Todd Nightingale is going to be speaking, and he's always entertaining because he covers a ton of great information. Because Meraki, you could easily make the mistake of thinking, oh yeah, aren't those the wireless guys that make things easier? And oh, I think they did some routing and some switching and stuff. Yeah, and they do a whole lot more, including security cameras. They do the AI, ML implementation using all of that gear to your benefit. I run the top of the line at my house because they were fortunate enough to give it to me, and it's so easy to use. My kids don't like it because I restrict them, but this is something to pay attention to. So right now, we're going to go over to Todd Nightingale, who's going to lead us in the Meraki Showcase.
Hello everyone, and welcome to the Innovation Showcase Theater. My name's Toby, and I have the pleasure of being your host today. Now, we all know that to thrive in the new world of digital business, companies have to stay on top of innovation like never before. And that's why we're bringing you 11 sessions here at this Innovation Showcase, and where we will not only show you the latest solutions, we will also show you, oh, give me this. We have the latest solutions, service innovations, and best practices, which we know will inspire and inform and engage you here at Cisco Live 2019. Now, today we will be looking at the topic of intelligent technology for a better customer experience. And to tell us all about it, it's my pleasure to welcome to stage Todd Nightingale.
Thanks, Todd. How's it going? Cisco Live Europe. My favorite Cisco Live. Don't tell anyone. Don't tell anyone. Barcelona is beautiful, and I'm shocked every year. I am shocked at how many partners and customers and friends show up from around Europe and fly here to meet with us. And more than anything, I do want you to know, we at Meraki, but at all of Cisco really, we're honored by that. By how many of you come out and spend this week with us, maybe learning a little bit about new technology from Cisco, new offerings from the partners, but most importantly, I think, feeding information back to us. I got to spend time with a couple dozen Meraki customers and partners last night, and it was supposed to be maybe a couple hours of drinks and food. Probably the most valuable set of discussions I have had in a quarter, because I got to hear the real experience that each of those customers and each of those partners is really having. Not what the product does, not what feature they want, but what experience they themselves, as IT professionals, are having, and the experience that their users are having. And that's really what I want to talk about here today. This is the mission at Meraki: to simplify powerful technology so passionate people can focus on what really matters to them, on their true mission, on their true passion. Talking to European customers all week has been awesome. I talked to this big monster grocery store chain from mainland Europe last night. And in talking to them about what they really care about, did they ever tell me that they wanted to run the highest density Wi-Fi network in the world? Little quick change is going to be great. Did they tell me they wanted to run the highest dense? Thanks, man. Sorry. All right, start over. Now, did that grocery chain tell me, I want to run the highest density Wi-Fi network in the world? I want to run the most sophisticated 3-tier switching stack that grocery has ever had? No, certainly not. They told me, I care about the shopping experience. I care about using technology to improve inventory management. I care about using technology to drive the best possible store operation and the best possible customer and shopper experience. I want to drive customers back to a grocery store using technology because I am a CIO for a grocery chain. That is what they are passionate about. That is their mission. And that's Meraki's mission: to simplify powerful technologies, technologies that for the last 30 years have become incredibly powerful, and put them in the hands of those kinds of customers in healthcare and education and retail and hospitality so they can get their real jobs done, so they can serve their users better. And this mission has driven us at Meraki for years now, and I am incredibly proud of it. And I see that we have to maniacally stay focused at exactly this. But the reality is that's not always easy. Like many of you, I've been in networking for years now. I got my first job in computer networking in 1999. At Meraki, that makes me a senior citizen, so that's rough. But the jobs I had before this, they didn't have anything to do with simplicity. They had to do with power, simplifying powerful technology. I worked in Wi-Fi silicon, and I did make that densest Wi-Fi technology. I worked on Ethernet MAC technology, and we worked on making the highest, most performing, fastest speeds and feeds an Ethernet MAC could possibly provide. I worked at a security company, and we worked on the most sophisticated security algorithms possible. And I look back at that history of work, and I'm proud. I am proud of the work I did, but I realize that the entire industry for the last 25 years has been so focused on power, we lost what the focus really should have been. It should have been on the customer experience, on the entire experience a customer has with your products, with your offerings. Not just what the product does, not how features work, not even how simple the product is, and it hurts me to say that, but how every touch point, every opportunity we have to engage with our customers and with our users, we make that experience not just as clean and as simple as possible, but as cohesive as possible. And I think this is just as true for all of you as it is for all of us. Every IT director, every CIO I talk to, they're constantly, maniacally focused on what their user experience is going to be. Not just how much uptime their mail server is going to have, how many network outages or data center problems they're going to have, but the best of them are trying to curate a beautiful and simple experience for their end users so that their users at the end of the day feel cared for from the beginning to the end. And when we look at how Cisco and how Meraki think about this, we think about it the same way. You are our customers, you're our users, the admins and your end users, and we have to find better and better ways to care for you and all of your teams to make their jobs as easy as possible, all the time, and most importantly, so they can focus on what matters to them. And that's why at Meraki, we are constantly focusing on customers, not competitors. It's why we don't talk about feature requests at Meraki. We talk about problems to solve and use cases to cover. Every product manager at Meraki gets read the Riot Act, either by me or by one of our product directors, about not dealing in feature requests, but instead in use cases and problem solving and a complete customer experience. Cisco has invested in this in an enormous way. I had a really interesting experience going to talk to a couple of companies that I thought were really the best at customer success, and all of them pretty much told me the same thing. Salesforce.com, those guys, they run a customer success motion, a customer experience motion that is really second to none. And it's no secret that Cisco's executive team brought Maria from Salesforce to run our customer experience group here because that is the direction for Cisco, to drive this cohesive customer experience, not just with a simpler product, maybe a cloud-managed product, maybe a Meraki product, but a complete and cohesive customer experience at every possible touch point. And at Meraki, we take this incredibly seriously. It's about understanding that the experience with everyone who works on your team, every network admin, every infrastructure admin, it starts with the first time they hear about Meraki, the first webinar invite they get, the first time they come to a trade show. It's about an access to information by going to a webinar and maybe even registering as a technical expert and getting a free access point to try. Anyone who hasn't done that, I urge you to do it. Go take a Meraki webinar, get a free access point, check it out, try the Meraki dashboard. It's about having a set of learning technologies, of learning materials, so everyone can become experts in this stuff. It's about having a sales process so that you can, after you see it and are demoed the product, you can trial it with no friction. We'll ship a trial the very next day after the trial is processed, so you can get equipment into your proof of concept within a week, up and running. It's about how easy it is to provision and set up that equipment. Do you need experts flown in from around the world, or can you do it in a couple minutes right on the web? And finally, it's about how easy it is to purchase, to update, to refresh, to configure, and finally, to upgrade and expand your deployment every step of the way. We have to look at every single touch point. And at Meraki, we think about every single one of those opportunities to work with you and your teams and how we can make it better. And I wanted to talk about a few things we've been trying to take very, very seriously at Meraki over the last year. The first one is being proactive. This is religion at Meraki now. We will be proactive. Every possible opportunity. There's this thing in America called Black Friday, and I'm told it's leaking into Europe now. Without a doubt, you have Cyber Monday, right? And this is the fact that after Thanksgiving, the geniuses in America all decide to go shopping for Christmas gifts on the same day. I mean, that's the reality. And what that means is that retailers, not just in the US, but across the world, they have this enormous crunch, this enormous surge in activity for the week, for the day, for even that just that one weekend after Thanksgiving, where they'll do 20% of their business for the year in just 2 days. It means the systems must work. On Black Friday, we have a holiday and I'm off, but I call Meraki technical support every single Black Friday, every single Thanksgiving, every Christmas Eve to ask, if there was any escalation, if there was any support case. And I was happy to find that this year when I called after this holiday, they told me, oh, we did have this one retailer that had an outage. And I thought, wow, I'm shocked I didn't get a call. It turns out it wasn't an entire retailer. It was one site and one retailer in Toledo, Ohio, and they had a failed device. I said, okay, I accept that. And the reason I think that happened is because we did a massive audit of all of our retail customers to find any vulnerability in their setup, any upgrade that they hadn't taken or stopped the system from automatically doing, any configuration that might have been flawed, and we proactively reached out to dozens of customers to correct and update their systems to ensure they had the smoothest possible Black Friday. That was a year and a half ago. We did the same thing this year, and we'll continue to do this. And for every industry, figuring out what is the most important time? What is that seasonality that's most important? How can we build in an automatic audit? Maybe the technology will do it for us automatically. Maybe at Meraki we'll do it manually. But however we deliver that, we will be proactive in delivering that customer experience. And it was manual. And I know I want my team to do it more, using more technology, more automatic, right? We had two really interesting attacks that went global this year, WannaCry and Petya. And I don't know how much everyone knows about the two of these, but they were similar attacks. WannaCry was global. Petya really focused on attacking certain parts of the Ukrainian infrastructure. And these attacks could be signatures, but they were widely deployed on the internet before significant signatures were built, right? And all Meraki firewalls, all Meraki security appliances are tied back through Meraki's cloud to Cisco's security research team, to Talos. And in these cases, Talos was the first team in the world to successfully write an effective signature for these attacks. Those signatures were automatically pushed from Talos to the Meraki cloud to every single Meraki MX online, and every single person running SourceFire AMP on those devices was immediately detecting and blocking these attacks. In fact, using that technology, using Cisco AMP technology on the MX, we were able to detect 9 sites retroactively that had been compromised with these attacks, and we were able to reach out to them on the phone and let them know that they did have a successful attack, a successful exposure, and they had to go out and deprovision those nodes and get going, right? Because this was such a crushing attack vector. And it's pretty remarkable to see the power of Cisco Talos and Cisco security technology combined with cloud. And if you have a real dedication to customer experience, how proactive you can really be. And being proactive has to be a pillar of customer success. Another one is this idea of always being listening. In fact, I think the virtuous cycle of customer experience is about listening, begging for feedback. It's why that dinner last night was so successful for me. It's why we take wishes at Meraki so seriously. We have a system on every Meraki product where you can just add a wish in dashboard. And those wishes get ranked and collated, and they show up on message boards for our product team and our engineering team, and we are constantly looking at wishes. And I'm not saying that every wish is 100% serious. We had an awesome Brexit wish. I don't know how people feel about Brexit, but I know how that guy felt. We get a lot of wishes for roast beef sandwiches. A weird number of people wish for pizza for some reason. There's a rumor that once we sent a guy a pizza. I think that's why we don't send pizza anymore, right? But we get phenomenal feedback through these wishes. And sure, I meet with customers here and I take wishes face to face, and I love that. But any opportunity to listen to your end user and hear what really matters to them, you have to take that, right? And if it's through that kind of listening outpost, or if it's about engaging with those users. At Meraki, we set up a Meraki community specifically to engage with our end users, with the admins from around the world. We have thousands of active users now after just a year of the community being live, year and a half. Thousands, tens of thousands of messages and posts being answered by community members that in a community where this engagement is remarkable and we can constantly be listening and gathering feedback. We do it over social media. Simon's in the back, and if you tweet feedback or information or a picture of this presentation and tag it #Meraki, Simon will read that tweet, and certainly if there's something wrong or we need help, we will engage over social media. You have to find every possible opportunity to reach that end user and for us to reach you and your teams. And the next one is this idea of living the best practice. Right? We had a very interesting reality check at Meraki about 1.5 years ago, where we noticed that about 20% of our IT tickets coming in were actually facilities tickets, and about 20% of the facilities tickets were actually IT tickets. We noticed that almost every new office project was tightly intertwined between these two groups. And we could see that we would be able to innovate faster and more effectively by joining them. And so we combined facilities and IT into a single team called Digital Workplace. And that team has been able to execute far faster and with far more interesting results because facilities and IT are eventually merging. You can see it happening already. I see operations team that have a single digital operations group instead of IT and facilities separately. And for us, living that best practice and living that reality that we see so many of our customers going through right now, it meant that we could get so much better feedback. We could turn our IT facilities group into an internal customer feeding us back information. And perhaps the most interesting presentations coming out of Meraki right now are not me at Cisco Live. It's our head of digital workplaces talking about how a facility technology team can leverage cloud technology and the power of simplicity to build a better overall customer experience, user experience for end users and employee users at Meraki. And the last thing is to really align your technology vision with this full customer experience. And that's really what we've been trying to do at Meraki. We've aligned our entire engineering team around these 3 pillars, doubling down on simplicity. Everything could be more simple. Imbuing our products with deep intelligence, leveraging the power of AI and machine learning to make our solutions more intelligent and, most importantly, more simple for all of you. And the third is expanding our portfolio to really cover the digital workplace, to be a single pane of glass, a single infrastructure solution for an entire workplace, entire office or branch, store or clinic. And by expanding so you can run an entire site, again, driving that important simplicity. And those are the tenets of building a very complete customer experience at Meraki, being proactive, always engaging, listening for feedback, aligning our technology. And I think that has been the secret to our success over the last couple of years. I hope your teams are seeing that. And I hope that if you're not, you are feeding that information back to us. You're giving us every opportunity to hear how we could make a better total experience, not just a better product, but better in support, in messaging, in learning and marketing and the entire experience of Meraki. So we think about how our technology aligns with these goals. And we really think about the constituencies that our users, who our users are. We have IT administrators. We want to make their experience as simple as it can possibly be so they can focus on their real mission. They have both employee users and they have guest users or shopper users, patient users, right? Those guests that might not be employees. And we need to provide a great experience for all of those groups. In education, you've got staff users and you have student users and maybe you even have guests and parents as well, right? And we need to think about every constituency and how we make that experience as good as they can possibly be for each one. I think about installing Meraki products as like the best case study for this. When we got around to testing out the installation process for the Meraki camera models, our product team went to amazing lengths. They sent employees home with, what are those video cameras called? GoPros, mounted on their heads so they could watch the experience of someone trying to install install a camera from the first person. They noticed that when you install a camera and you adjust the lens, you want to see video right there while you're standing up on the ladder. And so they built this app so you could look at the video in real time right while you install the camera. They noticed the latency with the regular feed wasn't quite right, so they built a special feed just for this installation mode that runs in ultra low latency mode, right? Because the installation process could be just a little bit cleaner. And while we might install a few hundred cameras in testing, your teams are going to install tens of thousands of cameras around the world. And improving that experience just a little bit makes an enormous difference. Wi-Fi installation is just the same. I'm sure it comes to no one's surprise that at Meraki we're always working on the next Wi-Fi access point. And I tend to bring home the alpha and beta hardware and test it in my house. I did this last week, and I realized that the installation process has just gotten perfect. I drove home into my garage, I put my bag on my shoulder, I picked up the access point, and as I'm walking past the router, which I keep in the garage, I took the access point out of the box, I scanned the back of it with my phone, I plugged it into the switch, and I went upstairs. And that was it. That was the entire installation of a new beta access point into my home network. And I did not have to spend time working and get that conversation from my fiance. It just worked with a single scan, with 3 clicks on the app. That's what the installation experience is supposed to be, right? And improving that experience has to be not just for IT administrators, but for end users too. And that's where this intelligence component is really coming in. Can we switch over to the demo for a minute? Awesome. So look, this is the Meraki dashboard that I know everyone is familiar with, that I'm hoping everyone's familiar with. And it's near and dear to my heart. You get this great view of every client. This is our real production network in San Francisco. And I can see every client that's connected, and I might even notice that for some reason, while everyone else has done 200 gigs or fewer, I've got one user, Jay Dorian, who did 2.8 terabytes. Seems out of character. It wasn't supposed to be part of the demo. But if I had time for you, I would click on this user and dive in and find out what's going on. And I urge you all to go to check out the digital workplace booth over here. Ask people to load up the current Meraki dashboard and find out what Jay Dorian's doing, because something's not right. He's half the bandwidth use right now. The Meraki dashboard, it also gives you this beautiful view of your entire network as it's deployed. And we have a large network in our San Francisco office, and it'll show you every router, every switch, stacks of switches, access points, cameras. And it shows it to you exactly as the network is wired, exactly as it's deployed. Not a piece of paper that you print out once a year and hang in someone's cubicle, but a live, immediately up-to-date view, because that is the experience people want. No one wants to print that thing out. I spent decades printing that thing out, hang it in my cubicle. You want a live, up-to-date system that is just right, and the technology knows it. We can build it for you. Why shouldn't we? Right? That is a customer experience. And we think about embedding intelligence into the product. Really, we think about AI. And this product, I'm incredibly proud of. It's Meraki Wireless Health. It's our wireless assurance product. It embeds deep artificial intelligence into the business of assuring that we have best-in-class wireless coverage. As networks are going to wireless only, this is incredibly powerful, right? And it has to be incredibly easy to use. And that's why the entire system now for troubleshooting wireless networks does not include reading radius logs, understanding packet captures, downloading a syslog client. We need to make the IT admin user's experience super, super simple. And we need to care about the end user. And that's why this screen right here shows you very simply exactly how every connection is either succeeding and failing. And I can see here almost all of my failures are in authentication. I have clients with bad credentials, and they're not authenticating. I don't have to look at the radius logs. I don't have to understand a packet capture. I can see it right here in this chart. Almost all the authentications are succeeding except for through the authentication path, the credentials themselves. I can even see on the map which APs, in what areas we have clients that are having troubled RF performance, that are having retries and signal strength problems, all that stuff. And you don't have to look at a packet capture, understand what a retry rate is. I hope wireless engineers never have to look at a PCAP ever again. Instead, they can see that we do have a problem, an RF problem in this one area in our office, and we can go out and solve that. And that is the idea of combining best-in-class user experience for the administrator, for your teams, and for your users so that you can provide it as well. And the same thing goes for SD-WAN assurance, which we run an AI product called Meraki Insight. And this gives you application-level health and shows you where you might be having a problem. And so you can see, we run Google Drive at Meraki, but I am having a Google Drive problem. And there's nothing more simple, I've learned, than green checks and red X's. That is the ultimate customer experience. It tells you where you have a problem and have to pay attention and where you are good, right? And it almost hurt me to boil down the front of the UI to something this simple, but there's so many operators from this is just exactly what they need. I know I use Google Drive, I'm having a problem. I click there and I see every site that uses Google Drive, and I can tell my problem is in Chicago. And if I want to go a level deeper, I can dive in and I even get an expert system leveraging that AI to tell me what the problem is. And in this case, it is server response. So the Google servers to my Chicago site is actually a cloud problem. And I should go talk to my provider, my cloud provider, about the responsive rate. The AI embedded in this product can actually tell the difference between a LAN problem, a WAN problem, or a cloud service problem. And knowing where your problem is incredibly, incredibly important. And the amount of AI and intelligence built into this system is phenomenal. And I really hope that the complexity of it just disappears and that we just never have to talk about how sophisticated the technology is. We can talk about how simple it is to use. We can go back to the slides. The reality is, for all of the discussion that we have about making the user experience provided by Meraki and by Cisco as complete as possible, about making our customer support act more like customer success and be proactive, about having every touch point with the product be as simple as possible, that's only half the story. The other half is how your teams provide that same type of full touch, full service customer experience to the end user. And it's easy for people, I think, in my shoes to lose sight of that fact. What really matters is the service level that your teams offer to the end users at your company or school or government. And we want our products to be the best at that. But part of that customer experience, it has to come from a more cohesive system. Meraki, even if you are the most powered Meraki user, and there's a few of you out here today, it's not all of your infrastructure. It's not everything your IT teams are doing. You have other systems that you want to integrate with, and maybe most importantly, you want to engage directly with your end users based on exactly what they're doing. You want to run special teacher applications in schools and shopper engagement and offer pushes in retail. You want a guest experience that integrates the network with the TV, with the lights and curtains in a hotel room for the best guest experience. In order to offer that, we have to open up this platform. We have to provide a whole community, a whole set of technologies, and a whole support network for building on top of the network, on top of Meraki as a platform. And this decision to open up the Meraki platform to a suite of APIs, it was not easy for us. About 3-4 years ago, we decided to make a huge pivot. Stop focusing 100% on the Meraki dashboard, on the simplicity of a closed system, and instead massively open the system, providing a whole host of automation opportunities for MSPs and large IT shops, to offer all types of opportunity to engage with end customers with location analytics and presence notifications. And now, most importantly, I think, to drive the application development that we're starting to see so that your end users can engage the power of the network using these APIs. And I never would have guessed we would have had this type of adoption. Of 4.5 million devices online at Meraki, almost 5 million devices now online, we are getting 30 million API calls to our cloud every day. We work with Cisco's DevNet to train developers to use this stuff. And even someone who's been developing on the Meraki platform and the rest of the DevNet platforms for a couple weeks, very routinely they build something that we had never thought of. And it's going to be those applications that engage this data to your end users and complete their customer experience that's going to be so powerful. Looking at the results and how much usage we've seen across all the Meraki APIs, it's just enormously motivational. Because of that response, we are launching new APIs every month, sometimes many APIs every single month, and the use cases keep getting richer. We see tons and tons of use cases in location tracking, wayfinding, blue dot, all of that stuff. Even more than the XY location, just the presence of a VIP into a site, notifying the site manager, site director. Just that one use case is so powerful, and we're seeing it being developed across all different verticals right now. We've added a new kind of API to Meraki, which we're calling Meraki IQ. And that is a premium analytics API that's driven off of artificial intelligence embedded on our product. The cameras right now at Meraki are running a whole host of motion analytics, which really has real intelligence built in the camera. But beyond motion analytics, we are using machine learning to actually detect and track people through a scene. And you can see that here. These yellow boxes indicating that the system has detected human beings and is tracking them through the scene. There is no better people counter, I'm telling you, than a camera staring at the people. And you think, well, human beings would do a better job counting the people than a machine learning algorithm. No. People are terrible at that. Human beings are terrible at staring at cameras 24 hours a day and doing anything. In fact, we've noticed at Meraki, 99% of all video recorded is never watched by anyone. If we want to get value from this technology, we have to teach the cameras to watch the video themselves and alert us to the events that are really happening. When someone is in an area they're not supposed to be, the analytics of how many people are in a scene, the cameras are going to do a far better job being our security guards, watching video than any human being will ever be. And this is the beginning of that vision, of opening up an analytics API that provides for the machine vision to do the work it's meant to do and feed us not a raw video feed, but the raw analytics that we need to make the right decisions. And if we could go back to the demo for just 1 minute. I do want to show you a quick demo of some of the cameras here. So this is a few of the cameras that we have at our office here in San Francisco. And it's interesting because this coffee bar is, I think, one of the most trafficked areas in the office. It might be a little too early in the morning right now for people to be hanging out. So here, let me just try this. We'll look at 1 p.m. yesterday. I like this feature. You can just type in 1 p.m. yesterday. That's very, very clever. And this will show me video from that time. Now, the video does not get stored in the cloud. It's stored on the camera, right? But at 1 p.m., during just about any time of the day, during just about any day, we have quite a few people hanging out outside of our coffee bar. And if I turn on the people detection, you can see the yellow boxes tracking the people, and as the people move through the scene, it will know the difference between regular motion and human beings, and it will count those people for you. And I'm not going to lie to you. This is a great demo, and I'm into it. How many people are signing up for a job where you sit and stare at the yellow boxes all day? I'm not into it. Like, it does demo great, and it's awesome. But this is not the killer use case, right? The killer use case is to let the cameras do this for us, and for us to consume this from an analytics point of view. this really, truly powerful machine learning can be, that artificial intelligence, we can democratize that by embedding it in every Meraki camera. It comes with the camera. And you will get these analytics views that tell you how many people entered the scene at every hour of the day. And if I want to see it instead of hourly, daily, that's available too. And it'll really tell me what's going on. I can see where the weekends are. I can see that no one's come to the office yet this morning, because this is the engineering floor and they just don't wake up this early, and that's fine. And maybe even more importantly, I can actually look at the motion heat maps of this scene, because look, it's important to remember the coffee bar is busy from 12 to 2 every day, but that's not really how this space is being used. There's very few people sitting on these couches almost ever. There's an enormous amount of use in that back corner of the coffee bar where we have like this premium San Francisco-y cold brew coffee or whatever. And that's where everyone goes all the time. Really, our digital workplace team could take this data and maybe reuse that space with desks, because we know just looking at the data that it's not being used. And this is this idea, we shouldn't really be staring at camera feeds. We should be building more intelligent systems and having them feed the data we really need back to us. We shouldn't be staring at packet captures in the network and syslogs. We should be building more intelligent systems and building a more complete solution that takes care of us better and feeds us back just the information we need to do our jobs better, so that we can get back to focusing on our mission and what really matters. And that's why the customer experience is really so important. If we go back to the slides. If we focus on this customer experience, I think we can, together, really start to operate this as a virtuous cycle. The better customer experience, the more people know that we care, not just about the quality of the product, or at Meraki, the simplicity of the product, or the power of the product, but the more we can communicate that we care about the total experience, the more your teams communicate to your end users that you care about their total experience, not building a more powerful server farm, then the more they're going to feel comfortable feeding us back that information, that feedback. And if we can listen to it and cultivate it, we can find out what really matters to you, you can find out what really matters to your users, and we can feed that in and create a virtuous cycle where we are constantly caring for the entire customer experience. We are getting feedback about how to make it better. Hopefully we are expanding your use of our technology and our total offering to do that, and we are getting the feedback back. I've invited our whole Meraki team here in the back right because we want to hear everyone's feedback. There's an awesome digital workplace Meraki pod in the Cisco showcase back here. Please come by, give us your feedback, because that is the only way we are going to make this offering more intelligent, more effective, and more complete. Thank you so much for coming. Thanks.
And there you have it. Welcome back to the broadcast. That was our final innovation showcase here at Cisco Live 2019 Barcelona. It's amazing. Todd Nightingale, our Senior VP and GM Meraki, telling us all about intelligent technology for a better customer experience. Great talk. Business users, consumer users, they know what they want. They know how to get it. He called them savvy shoppers. I sort of love that. Right here on set with me, I've got my friend Nish Parker.
Hey.
How are you, friend?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you.
Have you been
sad it's the last day.
It was the last day, and you and I haven't really seen each other. You've been out, you've been here, and I've been kind of out wandering, or we've been swapping and passing each other like ships in the night.
Exactly. I had such a good time at the Cisco store earlier, learning about the retail environment, and we've actually got Meraki cameras there.
And you got free stuff.
I did get free stuff. They very kindly gifted me a really cool Cisco hoodie.
So let's talk a little bit more about Meraki, okay?
Yes.
And kind of put the button on the Meraki conversation that we've been having here for a while. We live in this day and age where a quick search brings all of these powerful analytics directly to your doorstep or right to your screen, wherever it is that you happen to be. The difference really is in the customer experience, and I think that's so much of what Todd was really hitting on. It's not the technology. The best technology is going to rise to the challenge. It's like the cream is going to rise to the top. So here at Cisco, we've all got all these relevant personal touch points that we're able to load into the product, rich insight, smart, oh, this thing just sort of jumped around. I have my notes here, and it jumps around quite a bit. Smart analytics, but the difference is really in how the end user approaches our capabilities. Do we make it easy for them? Do we make it easy for them to onboard board and see the benefit and the capabilities, right?
Exactly, yeah, exactly. And it's not just the customer experience, which of course is really important, but actually the deployment of Meraki. I've actually seen some of the dashboards and it's super, super easy. I know a lot of the engineers that I work with in my team as well, they all have Meraki in their house. Yep. So it's really easy to deploy for anyone. And we do webinars as well from Meraki. You can get free access points. You can definitely try it out as well.
Exactly.
Cool.
I read a great blog, and Todd, he touched on it during the Innovation Showcase, and I kind of wanted to go to it here because I brought the blog in with me, and they were talking about the new Meraki Border Gateway Protocol release. And this is a big change because we're going from the internal to the external. Border Gateway Protocol, they call it BGP, just, you know, again, we love
Another
our acronyms,
acronym.
right? One more for you to learn in case you were worried. BGP, it's exterior rather than interior IP routing protocol, meaning this is meant to operate outside the network gateway. In other words, this is meant to operate within the internet. And it's a big differentiation because it really changes the game for the Meraki that we've been talking about for quite some time and that people have gotten used to. Meraki has pulled out all these vendor-specific elements. They're no longer in there, those layers, making it very easy for anyone to use it, for anyone to configure it, scale it from a mom and pop operation all the way up to a huge multinational, and it's taking Meraki to everybody who wants to use it. It's no longer just for the people who know Meraki, have used Meraki, and all week long we've been talking about get rid of the fear. Do you want to get involved? Do you want to utilize our Cisco capabilities? Don't worry about it. We've got you. We're making it as easy and simple as we possibly can, so just get out there, take advantage of the technologies that are available to you here through Cisco. We're going to make it easy for you. The trick is take that risk.
Yeah, definitely, and you saw the pop-up store as well. Pop-up, like you said, scalable. It's very simple to add cameras, to add access points. I love Meraki.
So good, so good, so good. All right, so now we get to go out and learn more about Meraki. So my buddy Rob Boyd, he's out on the World of Solutions show floor. Are you in the Meraki space right now, friend?
I am, Steve. Thank you so much. It's a dangerous place for me to be because there's so many people that I'm always reconnecting with, no pun intended, building bridges as we look at all the different technologies. But you know, Meraki is very, very well integrated into a lot of things here, so it wasn't immediately obvious to me exactly where they were, but we've got a rack of information here, a rack of gear here, if you will, because sometimes we forget there's a lot of physical hardware that Meraki is making. They talk about artificial intelligence that they're doing out at the edge, especially when it comes to their security cameras. Follow me just a moment as we come back here. But in their booth, they're doing a thing here. You can come by and pick up one of these cards from one of these ladies. It's a Meraki mission, and obviously it's a hashtag as well. This gives you, the basics of this is you're going to fill in stamps as you come through these different parts of the booth to make sure that you've covered everything that you should from a Meraki perspective. So Todd Nightingale was just on stage there talking about all the new and different things that they're doing, from the unique APIs and the way in which they're doing the artificial intelligence to do more things in a creative way with the cameras. In fact, their cameras are almost so well integrated, you almost don't see them. You'll see the domes, if you will, here. This is what's next on my list for my home surveillance, because I've had my own home surveillance cobbled together using an old Mac Mini that I had laying around. But I use Cisco wireless. I use, Meraki's wireless. I use Meraki's MX. So I use the firewall, the switch. I do all that at home for the PoE for the cameras, but the cameras themselves are knockoff brands that I run through the Mac Mini. I want these things because it all ties into the same interface. In fact, you can go up to any of these computers here and you're going to be able to demonstrate or poke into the interface, and then Meraki experts are able to answer questions and to help you understand as if you can't. That's the beauty of the Meraki, is you really don't need a lot of help. It's a point and click, it's a figure it out as you go along, and it's a ton of intelligence brought to you through that simplified type of interface. So they've got that set up here. There's still professionals, of course, up front walking you through it. If you just truly don't want to have to think about any of this on your own at all, you can come by in here and let them do it. A couple of people are running as the camera comes more close. You guys just keep pretending that everything's normal and that you're ready to buy everything. They'll stare at the screen intently at the map interface. This is a hands-on demonstration, so definitely come by and check this out. It's in the left-hand side as you come into the center of the World of Solutions. I think we got 2 more minutes. 1 more minute, all right, fantastic. All right, so with that, I lost my train of thought. Let's look over here. Okay, so just more extensions of the same thing. You'll see the integration in security, and as you come in through the left, this is where you're going to find it. In just a moment, we're going to be over and talk you through about the NOC screens. I think Igadam's going to be joining me for that as well. So we'll explain to you exactly all the real-time data that's being produced here on the show floor and all the ways in which they've been viewing it if you've not seen it. But with that, we will wrap up the show right now and go to a video. All right, guys, thank you so much.
Hi, welcome back to Cisco Live Barcelona 2019. I'm here in the Cisco TV studio, and I'm joined by Mark Noel. Hi Mark, how are you?
Hello, hi Nish, how are you doing?
Yeah, good, thank you. So you are a distinguished engineer at Cisco.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit more about what that means.
Oh, what does that mean? It just means I've done a lot of stuff in my time at Cisco, and had the ability to influence a lot of products and influence a lot of direction in the industry, so helping Cisco guide where it's going to go.
And I understand it's great recognition as well, so congratulations.
Thank you.
So talking about high-speed optics, tell us a little bit more about 400 gig Ethernet.
So 400 gig E is the next speed of Ethernet. It's a big step. It's highly anticipated for all our customers that are running into bandwidth constraint issues. They're really looking to speed things up, and 400 gig is the next step. It's specified and standardized by the IEEE, and there's a lot of work that's needed to make that happen.
Got it, and tell us a bit more about this work. So what is your role in its development?
So my role is obviously helping us guide where we're going to go internally with our products, but with something like 400 gig E, it's a standard that the whole industry interoperates with, and so we have to have various standards, we have to have various specifications, we have to agree across an industry how all the parts are going to work together. So all of our equipment, whether it's Cisco to Cisco or Cisco to anyone else, will work and interoperate. And that's a huge amount of effort, a lot of argument, a lot of debate to try and figure out what the best solution is.
Mm-hmm. So in terms of some of the technical problems you've had to overcome, you mentioned interoperability there. Is that the key part there?
There's a lot of problems. Whenever you do something new, you have to invent new things to do. So we have to figure out how to make the optical signals go faster, go further. We have to get the electrical signals to speed up. And that's a big part of the problem that we have had to overcome as an industry. And then we have to figure out how to package it all together. And that's where there's been a lot of tension in the room, so to speak, on how do we sort of package it down into what would be a pluggable form factor that everyone would want to go and use.
Got it, and tell us a bit more about the format war. What are your views on this?
Right, so the format war or the pluggable module war, whatever you want to go call it, really it came down to a different philosophy on how we are going to go and take this technology, this 400 gig technology, package it into a module and use. So the industry has consistently and dominantly used a module format called a QSFP, and so we've seen it for 40 gig, we've seen it for 100 gig, and there's a